Water. How much water do we actually need to drink a day? Hello everyone, I'm Joseph van Heerden, a registered dietitian, and many of us actually underestimate the amount of water we need to drink a day. Now, for when you're a teenager, when you're an adult, and if you're active, you actually need to drink quite a considerably different amount of water. Let's go through that in more detail. As a healthy adult, so between 20 and 55 years old, we work with basically you need to be taking in 35 milliliters of fluid per kilogram a day. So if you're 100 kilograms, for example, you would need to take in 3.5 liters of fluid a day. Now, moving over to the 55 to 75 years old healthy adult, we would then be more looking at 30 milliliters per kilogram a day. Then also above 75 years old, we'd be more looking at our 25 milliliters per kilogram a day. Again, in a healthy situation, if you have, for example, let's say kidney disease or renal failure, is that you would want to be first consulting with a dietitian to get the specific amounts that you need. But also a disclaimer, and that is that it is fluid intake, not just water. So water is definitely a fluid, but also if you're taking in, let's say, cool drink or juice or something very liquid like yogurt or jelly, that still forms part of your fluid intake as well. But let's take it to another level. What if you're a little bit more active? So let's say the guidelines, because it says now if you're between 16 years old and 30 years old and you're moderately active, so you're quite busy in the day, you're moving around, playing a little bit of sports, we work with, instead of 35 milliliters per kilogram, we bump it up to 40 milliliters per kilogram a day. But what if you're an athlete, right? So if you are a, let's say, athlete that's in a good healthy weight range, you don't sweat that much, and it's not that hot, we normally work with 220 milliliters of fluid extra that you need per 20 minutes of exercise, right? But also, what if you are on the lower side of the BMI or consider yourself quite a low weight? Also, you don't sweat a lot at all, and it's also quite cold outside where you're exercising, is that it will then drop down to 170 milliliters per 20 minutes of exercise you need extra. But now on the other side of it is that if you are overweight, you do sweat a lot, and it is quite hot outside, you would definitely need to be moving up to the 270 milliliters of fluids per 20 minutes of exercise. But now with that is that there's obviously combinations in that. Let's say, for example, you are, let's say, a higher weight, you're not sweating that much, and it's actually quite cold, you could almost move yourself up in a sliding scale that in, let's say, instead of 270 mils per 20 minutes of exercise that you're doing, being an overweight person, it might then move down to the 230, 240 mils per 20 minutes of exercise instead. So we use this as a baseline to see what conditions you're going to be exercising in. Let's say, for example, if you're doing exercising at the gym or an athlete event, like let's say, for example, the Comrades, and we build this on top of the other fluids you need to be taking in a day. So if you need to be taking in 3 liters of water standard, and now let's say, for example, you're going to be exercising for an hour, depending on your situation, we would add that on top together. But now we also need to look at things like electrolytes. How do we actually practically get all this fluid in as well? And that's our work as dietitians, to make sure that you're getting in enough. Because for interest, if you become 5% dehydrated, that's where you're really going to start to get that headache. And just before that, at 4% dehydration, your exercise performance can even drop by up to 20 to 30% already. So, we normally look at carbo loads and supplements and all those things, but we don't often look at getting all of our hydration in as well. Stay hydrated, and we'll see you in the next one.